Hi, everyone. Welcome to Reiki 1 and 2 review. So a bunch of you asked me if I could create a video where, or if I had recordings of level 1 and 2 Reiki. And no, I don't have any. I do, but not that I can share with you because other people are on the video and it's just a confidentiality issue. So I decided just to put together a quick review for everyone. So here we go. The one thing I want to say about entering into Reiki 3 is that everything builds on each other, so you don't have to display any of this or show me that you know a lot of this in Reiki 3. We'll do a review together and I'll ask you questions, but it's not like you have to demonstrate that you're good at this. So I don't want you to panic or get into any of those places where, oh my God, am I going to do this okay? I don't even remember 1 and 2 anymore. It's okay. Here's a review. So let me share my screen and let us begin. So just a little reminder about Reiki, that Reiki level 1 is all about the basics. It's about understanding your own personal self-healing. We talk about the chakras. We learn about where the energy comes from. We learn how to bring it into our hands. And then we learn about a basic Reiki table treatment. So when it comes to Reiki 2 is all about understanding the symbols, understanding how to work within symbols, and then how to conduct a distant healing session. So I'm going to go through those in this. Remember that next time, Reiki 3, when we meet, we'll be beginning guiding releasing. We'll be learning a filtering technique called Golden Mesh Magnetic Net, and we're going to be doing a really amazing piece of understanding how to diagnose what's going on inside of the body based on where people have pain or illness in their body. So it's really a powerful Reiki session, Reiki 3. So the other thing to remember when you enter into all of this is that this is not traditional Reiki. Traditional Reiki would only teach you the healing. There usually isn't a Reiki 3. They don't talk about how to diagnose what's going on in the body based on pain and illness in the body. This is very different. This is unique, which is why I call it holistic Reiki. It is based on Dr. Usui's work, but it takes it to the nth degree. So remember that mentally, when you're working with any client, if you really want to work with them just in energy, just do Reiki, just do a holistic or just do a regular Reiki energetic treatment on them. They'll feel great. But if you want to get into long lasting, deep healing for them, you have to treat them holistically. So that means that you deal with them mentally, emotionally, physically, energetically. This means that the first thing that I always do with clients is I talk to them. I want to find out what they understand about what they're doing here on this earth. I want to know if they understand that this is a place to learn. And I want to know if they understand that this is all about healing, healing of the self and healing of others. And that means that you forgive yourself and you forgive others. So if they don't understand why they should forgive themselves or why they should forgive others, there's going to be an issue because they're going to hold on to pain and wounding inside of themselves. Now, if you feel like they're open to it, you can share about the purpose of life. But if they're not open to it, it doesn't matter. You can still explain to them every single human being is humanly conditioned. And if you're humanly conditioned, okay, that means that you have programming inside of your body that isn't going to leave you until you choose to heal it. And a lot of people will say, I don't need to get into this. I don't need to bring up the past. I let that go. I forgave my mother. Well, you might have, but your younger selves haven't. And you can ask them, how is that going for you? How is the healing going for you? Are you feeling better now? And what you're going to find is that very often they're like, yeah, not so good. So you can talk to them at least about their human conditioning, and if it's possible, bring them into understanding the purpose of life. Okay, that's going to allow you to move into the emotional pieces of Reiki and the emotional pieces of healing. And when you do that, you're going to help them to learn how to release, how to forgive. Okay, you're going to guide them right into that, and that's what we're going to learn in Reiki 3: how to do that piece. How do you guide them into that? When it comes to the physical pieces, this is important to help them to understand that they may need to have myofascial release. They may need to really look at using some natural healing like herbs, okay, eating healthy. They may need to look at having natural foods in their body. Okay, they also may need medical treatment. Sometimes that's necessary because even though we create everything in our body based on how we think and how we feel, the physical is very real. So the last piece is understanding about the energetics. That's where the Reiki comes in. Okay, that's where we can create this beautiful space for them to heal. And you can also guide them into places where they can learn to meditate, to get out of the head. It's a big piece of this. So, what is Reiki energy? So Reiki energy it means pure energy. And pure energy means that it's coming from source. Let me stop that. Hold on a second. Okay, I'm back. I now stopped all of my dinging and dingling. I left all my windows open, which means that anybody who messaged me is going to come through and go blink. So now we're no more blinking. Okay, so let's talk a little bit more about this pure energy. It comes from source. You know, we've talked about that already. Well, how does it work? This is what we learned about in Reiki 3. And if you watched any of the transition time classes, you would have seen this again. Everything in life is energy. Everything. Okay, and we are inseparable from everything. The air is little points of light. All right, my body is little points of light. This table and chair are little points of light, and so are you. So is source. So what we do when it comes to Reiki, remember I brought you through a process of seeing that when you look inside of your atoms, you break down into nothing but your own conscious thought. Okay, and when it comes to Reiki, source energy is the same. You can bring this beautiful source energy in to work with the light energy in your body, to communicate with it. Because inside of you, every person breaks down into their own conscious thought. Okay, every part of your body is your conscious thought. The consequences of that are basically that you have the ability to create health or not create health, that you are not solid. You can change your body, you can rearrange your photons. You just have to find the key to where is that locked. What is keeping me in this condition? Okay, so when it comes to Reiki, what Reiki does is it gives the ability for you, whoever it is you're working on, whether it's yourself, someone distant, or someone on the table, you're giving them an environment in which to heal. So if you're clearing your own chakras and you said, intended negative energy out, negative energy out, negative energy gone, release in your body, and you feel really great afterward, you too must change your thought. Because if you don't change your thought within about a day, you're going to go right back to where you were the minute you think about your pain, consciously or subconsciously. So there's a big difference between source energy, which is called photons of energy. Photons are unconditional pieces of love, unconditioned to the human experience, unconditioned pure energy. And when we bring that into our conditioned biophotons, a biophoton means it's a photon or a point of light in a biological being. Those little photons of light are going to be communicated with from source energy to say, do you remember us? Do you remember how beautiful we are? Do you remember? And your own body aligns with that energy. That's why you feel so good when you're done. So the energy, again, is setting an environment. All right. The heat from your hands actually comes from the photons of light that are coming from pure source energy, which vibrates very high. When we are conducting Reiki, there are 5 steps that we engage in. The first thing we want to do is take a deep breath, ground our energy, protect our energy, clear our mind, and then set intentions. So let's talk about these. Why do you take a deep breath? You take a deep breath because you have something in your body called a conceptual vessel meridian, or your main governing meridian is the other way to call that. That moves from the perineum, which is in between your either your um, your vagina or your testes and your anus. Okay, so it's going to be right in between those two areas. All right, and that connects this meridian that goes all the way up, and you can see it in this picture, all the way up and then into your eyes. All right, and so this is your main calming meridian. It's your meridian that governs all of the relaxation in your body. So when you take a deep breath into that perineum, now, clearly the breath isn't getting there, it's in your lungs, but the intention of that triggers the perineum and that meridian to send a message to your pituitary gland, which is behind the bridge of your nose, and which releases cortisol, the stress hormone, and adrenaline, the fear hormone. It triggers it to stop releasing those hormones. All right, so why do we take a deep breath? Because we've got to make sure we're in a good place. So deep breath into the perineum. Why do we need to ground? Because your body is electric and magnetic. And so when you imagine your energy flowing out the base of your torso through that perineum and out the bottoms of your feet and growing energetic roots into the earth, what you're doing is you're creating a grounding wire to stabilize the physical energy in your body. Okay, so we have to be grounded. It also makes sure you're in your body. Many spiritual individuals or enlightened individuals or sensitive or intuitive individuals tend to float out of their body because they don't like Earth so much. They're like, man, this place is not nice. So they're floaters. Okay, so if you're a floater, it's especially important. You've got to be present in your body when you do Reiki. All right, ground, stabilize your energy, get in the body. The next thing, we have to protect our energy. So we intend that the energy in our body and the energy around our body, ours, is ours, they are ours. And so we have to connect to that energy and we need to own it. And we set boundaries. I do not take on anybody else's energy. I do not let anyone steal or drain my energy. No one may attach to me. No one may influence my energy. I will not take on their emotions. Even if you feel it, you won't take it on. Okay, so what you do is you basically have to understand that you cannot feel sorry for any of your clients, no matter how hard of a story they are telling you, because you have to realize that whatever it is that they brought in is for their highest and greatest good. You can have compassion, but don't feel sorry for it. That is going to take that energy on. Then it's going to become yours, and that's not healthy. All right. Don't be a victim to anyone. Don't take on their energy. Don't feel sorry for it. Just have compassion and help them work through it. We also need to be in our pineal gland. We need to be in the center of the head. And the reason being is because this is where we hear our intuitive guidance. This is where we understand where we need to put our hands. Even if you know the next step in Reiki is to go to the arm. But if you're being called to the heart, go to the heart. There's a reason for that. But you won't hear that if you're in the front of the head thinking. Okay? So to move the energy appropriately too, we're going to bring energy in this way through the top of our head. And if you're in thought, a lot of that energy is escaping through your thought. You want to have full access to that energy. So bring it in, stay in the pineal, out of thought, allow that energy to move as it will into your hands, just intend it. Okay. And then you can hear your intuitive hits. You also want to intend that you are a clear and perfect channel, which means that whatever garbage you have going on from the day, you set aside. Set it aside. It's not yours during the session. I don't care what's going on. You can clear and do a session. Okay. Unless maybe you're sick, maybe don't do that. Okay. So you become a beautiful conduit for that high vibrating energy to flow through. All right. How do we move the energy? Energy is moved through intention. We're not forcing it, we're not pushing it. We just intend it to move gently. All right. We can intend that it just is going to go and do whatever it's supposed to do, Okay, we're just going to intend that you're going to create a good environment for the client, or you can intend something specific. You can intend that maybe they'll balance. Maybe you're going to intend that they're going to go through physical or emotional healing. Maybe you're going to intend that they release negative energy or release pain or charges in the body. Or maybe you're just going to help them relax and quiet and calm the body, calm the mind. All right. You can be specific or general. Where in the brain is intention? Well, here you go. Remember that we have three brains. You have a cephalic brain in your head that has 100,000 neurons. You have a heart brain in here, and this heart brain has 40,000 neurons. Okay, and then you have your energetic brain, which is your enteric brain, it's called. And this has 500 million neurons. Okay, it's your strongest brain. So that's why trust your instinct. Now, where do we set intention? The brain tells us into our heart, to open our heart and intend through the heart. Our gut says it will happen because it's our powerhouse. We are aware, we are intending with all three brains together, but it's really sent through the heart. What does the energy move through? And I am moving quickly. So if you need to pause and think about some of this, please do. So the energy in your body, when it comes in through the top of your head and you're intending it to come in, it is going to move through your myofascial system. Remember that fascia is hollow, it is fluid filled, and it is considered your energetic highway because it's hollow and fluid filled. All of your little biophotons or photons of light are flowing through this system. You are 60% made of fascia. It's also known as connective tissue, which means it connects tissue to organs, to bone, to muscle, to whatever it is, okay? It connects, which means that it's going into everything, all right? So this is your beautiful energetic system. This is why very often you need to have your clients, if they've got pain, often they need myofascial release because in that fascia, they have some trapped emotion. And you can help guide it out, but they may need to have, because remember, some things can be very physical. So if they got pain in their shoulder, they may need to go have some fascial release. All right. I learned the basics of fascial release so that when I was doing in-person clients, I could help them release. Now, when again, a reminder, you're going to connect to source energy. I recommend you do this before class, before we have Reiki 3. Remember, you take a deep breath, ground your energy, make sure you're nice and protected. You set your boundaries, clear your mind, and intend that energy to flow in. And don't forget, I created a really amazing meditation for this that I'll explain in a minute that you can access if you don't feel comfortable doing this on your own. Now, Reiki 1, we also learned about self-healing. Okay, self-healing means that you are going to clear and balance yourself. All right, you received this amazing guide. It's called the Chakra Guide. Review that because the Chakra Guide is going to become important for Reiki 3. That is something you will need to understand your chakras. What is their function? What does it do? Why is it there? All right. Now, remember that these chakras are actually belts of fascial tissue. Again, why people can end up with massive pain in their hips. You know, if they have something going on in their sacral, or their root chakra, okay, then they're going to have massive pain very often. All right. So knowing that is going to help you, or understanding where these are located. Just a reminder, the top of the head is not technically a chakra, but we will talk about it as one. It's actually a 1,000-petal lotus that opens and allows you to receive. You have the third eye chakra, the throat chakra that has everything to do with this jaw and the throat, okay? And then you have two parts in the heart. Don't forget you've got the lower heart and the higher heart. The higher heart is about your immune system or your healing energy. Your lower heart is about your self-love and compassion. Okay, so they work together. There are two parts to that one. Number 5 and number 4 on this picture are both of them. That's the heart chakra combined. You have the solar plexus chakra in number 3, the sacral in number 2, and the root in number 1. Okay, so again, take time to review that chakra guide. You were also supposed to have gone through a 21-day clearing. And that again is why I created that meditation I'm going to show you next. So this is where you were supposed to have focused on a chakra every day for 21 days. If you haven't done it, start now, okay? Because we want you as clear as possible before this Reiki 3 class. This is where you are going to learn to understand what you are holding inside of yourself, and you can actually just intend that any negative energy release from those areas. Okay, this is the meditation that is on my YouTube channel. Google my name and YouTube tube, and maybe even put in connecting with Reiki energy. Okay, and you'll find this meditation, or get into my playlist, go to guided meditations. If you haven't been there already, you should get in there. There's some good ones in there. All right, and play this meditation. Allow yourself to heal. All right, now we get to the place where we need to talk about the Reiki table treatment. I'm going to pause the video, set up my Reiki table, and I'm going to guide you through the basics of this again. Okay, now before I do, there's some things to consider. Remember your environment. Your environment should be calming. It should be warm. Okay. And if it's not warm, use a heated blanket underneath and a nice blanket on top, because people's blood pressure will lower and they will get cold. So even if you run hot, make sure they are warm. All right. Second thing, music. Make sure that you ask them if they want music, because not everybody does. A couple of extras. You make sure that you have something to put underneath people's legs. You can use a rolled yoga mat. You can buy a bolster. They sell those, all over the place. When you're buying a Reiki table, you can buy all the extras, okay? You want to make sure that you have, like I usually use like a pillow for the head. Okay, we're not doing massage, so they can rest on a pillow. Unless you're doing fascial release, then you remove the pillow. All right, but this is not a class about fascial release. This is just Reiki. So a nice pillow. All right, if you want to, you can have either a towel warmer, which is super expensive, or you can get a crock pot and put some moist towels in the crock pot. All right, if you, at the end of the treatment, you can wash their feet ceremoniously, or just wash them to get their feet warm. All right, they will love it. You can also buy lava stones, or meditation stones, or massage stones. All right, they're all called the same thing, spa treatment stones, and they are made of lava rock. And you can place those in your crock pot. Okay, put a little water in the bottom. You can place those when you have them face down. You can place them right down the spine, and it's really beautiful. It opens up their spinal energy, and it is absolutely fantastic. So just some extras if you want to. I also I bought crystal chakra bowls. Okay, and I had a bowl for each of the chakras, and I used to play those right on the body at the end of the session. People loved it. Okay, and they came back again and again and again just for that treatment. All right, so just some extras. So I am going to stop the share. I am going to pause the recording. And voila, we have a Reiki table. So we're back with a Reiki table. So let's talk about delivering a session. So when I begin, I usually stand on the right side of the table. And when I'm here, what I do is I start to connect with the person. So the first thing that I do is I have them start laying face up. All right. Normally the headrest would be down, but mine is a difficult table. It's an old German table, and so don't get one of these. They're really tricky. Anyway, so this is normally down, and I have a chair in front of the table. When I'm at the table, I'm going to begin by just connecting with the person, and I might say, so let's both take a nice deep breath, and let's connect our energies. And when they take a nice deep breath, so do I. And then I set the energy in the room. And I'm intending inside of me that the energy in this room is so beautiful, so full of my guides' energy, so full of oneness, so full of beauty. All right. And so when I've got this beautiful oneness energy, what happens is that I say, okay, now open your heart center. I'll open mine. And I'm grounding my energy in and I'm protecting my energy all while I'm doing this beginning. I will then say, okay, let's connect your heart center with my heart center so we can be partners in this work. And so we connect our energies together. I then say, let's invite your guides in and my guides in and healing angels to be with us and working right through us for both of our highest and greatest good. Now, you can say anything you want. That's just what I say. All right. So when we start with Reiki, we start at the beginning or at the head of the table. So we sit in our chair. And the first thing that we do is we're going to hold and connect the head. All right, so we're going to really begin our Reiki energy at the head. Usually I start with the fingers at the temples and I rest the palms of my hand on the sides of their head and I'm connecting with their head and with themselves. Sometimes I'll move my hands over to the forehead and really just intend that they're quieting their mind. If they're really bad, I might move it kind of underneath the head and try to quiet them. Shut your brain up, please. But I intend this calmness for them so that they can feel good and centered, all right? I may even guide them to take a deep breath if I can really feel they're still chattery in their mind or tense. And a lot of times you can tell that by static in the head, static, 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 okay? Once you've kind of quieted the mind, you're going to move your hands gently, very gently. Remember, Reiki touch is light, gentle touch. And so we slowly and gently touch the throat and the jaw. So usually I have kind of part of my hand on the jaw and my fingers on the throat, but I don't close my fingers across the neck. People get very sensitive with that, okay? And so usually it's just on the side and then I connect up in the top. All right, so I hold here and you can intend you're balancing or calming or quieting or just allow the Reiki energy to go in. Stay out of your head, all right? The next thing we do is we work on the shoulders. So we allow our hands to go onto the shoulders and we imagine this energy entering into calm those stressful shoulders that people have. Really calm and quiet all the tissue. Let them relax into the table. All right. After that, it's time to stand up. So you can keep a hand on the body when you move. Some people like to do that so that people always know where they are. Okay, it's a good idea. Sometimes I break it, sometimes I don't. All right, what happens though is that then we're going to begin with the arm. Okay, so you can do the top part of the arm, the lower part of the arm. You can work on shoulder, hand. Sometimes I hold hand and shoulder. Sometimes I just do the whole arm. Whatever is most comfortable for you or whatever it is that you're feeling called to do, that's what you do. Okay, now an important thing to remember once you stand, your posture is critical. All right, this we do not want to do. All right. If you need to, get your warrior one, okay? Get that out here and get your warrior one stance, all right? And so that means you're bending your front leg and your back leg is straight, okay? So you're kind of doing it like this, or spread your legs straight out, but far apart so that you're lower down to the table without bending over, okay? If you have a table that can raise up, you can do that. Me, the old German tables don't raise. So it's one height and that's it. So I kind of have to, make sure I spread my legs and have a lot of lower distance. All right. Okay, excuse me. So work on the hand. Now we don't cross the body to get to the other side of the hand. I'm going to move the table up. We always walk around the bottom of the table, because we don't want to break the head. We want to keep that nice and free. All right, they're off in their thought, they're doing their thing, so let's not interrupt the head. So we walk around the bottom of the table and we get the second arm, however it is that you're going to do the arm, okay? Then we walk back around the table and we come to this part of the body again, okay? Now working from this side of the body, I don't understand why, but I learned it, always work from the right, but I have in many times worked from the left and it felt just fine. Yeah, you'll see what's comfortable for you. Now, we're gonna work our way down the chakras. Heart. Remember, for women, you might do a T if they have smaller breasts. You might have to do angel wings, which means you're kind of like this, but like that, I just can't do it. Okay. Or, or a T might be like this if they have smaller breasts. For men, you can just plop it right on. Okay. It's nice and convenient. All right. But we got to work around the boobies. All right. Heart chakra, solar plexus can be like this or like this, whatever you're feeling called to do. Sacral, a lot of times I like to get ovaries. Ovaries on women are really down low. You wouldn't think they were, but they're here, okay? Or you can work here, okay, or here, whatever you're feeling called to do, okay? Now, you may get called to hold two different chakras at once because you really feel like I want to hold the sacral and the heart. Well, then do that. That's your intuition working, okay? You can't hurt anyone with Reiki. Okay, unless you're intending evil, juju to go in. Well, I don't think so. So of course not. All right. Now, hips, hand on the hip, hand on the hip. That's going to get the root chakra. All right. So we're intending the root chakra. Then it comes time for legs. Legs, you can hold the whole leg. Okay. Or you can do thigh, knee, calf. Shin, and then walk around to the other side of the table and you'll get the same thing on the other side, okay? Just don't cross like I just did. When we get to the feet, we're gonna hold the bottoms of the feet, all right? So in this situation, this is where you may wanna have nice warm towels on them if they're bare feet, because sometimes, especially in California, you get the good old classic dirty hippie feet, and yeah, those are gross. So a lot of times I always put the towels on the feet and held the bottoms. If they have socks on, you can ask them to remove them before they get on the table, or if you're not going to use them, just keep the socks on, okay? But definitely get the shoes off, all right? So hold the bottoms of the feet. When you hold the bottoms of the feet, you're going to intend balance of left and right side of the body, okay? Now, it's time for us to, we don't do that. That's just for the sake of the video. It's time for us to have the person roll over. So what we're going to do is we're going to very gently not use their name. We're just going to say, okay, I'm going to have you roll over now. All right. If they have a blanket and a pillow, you're going to grab the blanket, the pillow, and grab the side of the blanket. And when they start to roll over, you lift that blanket up or they will tangle into the blanket. As soon as they get their head off the table, you're going to remove the pillow, put this back down, and they put their head in the face cradle. Now, if your face cradle isn't up already, like mine, you need to do it before you tell them to roll over, okay? Then grab the pillow, grab the blanket, let them roll over, pull this out, okay? If they had a bolster underneath their knees or a yoga mat, you move it so that their feet are hanging right over it. So it's almost like it goes right underneath the ankles, okay? So you can then put that right over, let their feet hang over it, all right? When we begin, again, we're going to begin at the head, and we're going to hold the back of the head, the occipital ridge. We're gonna kind of grasp our fingers and lay our hands on. When we do this, we are just going to, again, calm, but we're also going to intend that they have good balance of left and right brain. Right? Now, second position here, we don't get the back of the neck unless you're called. Sometimes I'm called to hold the back of the neck and the top of the head. Listen. Okay, but typically it's just the back of the head. Then you go, we've already done the shoulders, but you get the back of the heart chakra, all right, while you're sitting. Again, sometimes I'm called to hold the top of the head and the heart chakra, or maybe the back of the throat and the heart chakra. If you're called, you're called. Okay, now again, standing up, you've got a hand on the back of the heart chakra and you're going to get the solar plexus. After the solar plexus, you're going to get the sacral. Now, again, you can move your hands this way or this way, whatever feels comfortable. You don't have to get the arms, you already got those, okay? So sometimes I'm called to place a hand at the small of the back, not on the butt itself, just in the small of the back. And I balance the sacral and root together. Okay, then we don't need to do the hips. We already got those, but we do the back of the legs. So you can do the back of the thigh, back of the calf, All right, and then you walk around the other side, back of the thigh, back of the calf, and move this again for sake of the video. Then you're to this part at the end. Now, there is a technique that I would have taught you in Reiki 1 when you did your table session that has to do with balancing out the back, okay? So I will show you that, but it's kind of an extra. So actually, let me just show that to you now. So, you know how I said about the lava stones? You can either have those on the back right when they lay down, all right? Or you can put them on now. Okay, and when you're going through, what you're going to do is you're going to place a hand above the body about half an inch, okay? And you're going to place it at the nape of the neck, all right? So right back here. And you're going to, but not touching it, okay? Then you're going to go to the tailbone. And you're going to imagine their spinal cord in this beautiful, beautiful column of white light. And you're going to imagine it filled with gold, which is their spiritual backbone. And you're going to really connect with that. And then you are going to begin to bring your right hand to your left. Okay, so right goes to the left. All right, it's the same thing when we're going to learn in Reiki 3 about the filtering. We go right to left. All right, so we have a white light and we see the gold in their spine, and we really connect with that, and we are intending, and we're condensing that gold and condensing, and then we take it and we push it into the body, and we actually do touch the body. So you may want to move a stone off wherever it is that you're working, okay? And you condense it in, and you intend that all that beautiful spiritual backbone is available to them, all right? So then place your stone back on, take the other one off, and you're going to condense. So you're going to actually start from wherever it is that you left off. So you got here and we're pressing the energy in. You're going to go to where you left off and then the tailbone. And now you have a shorter section to work with. And you're going to intend that that is in the white light filled with gold. And you're going to condense the gold, and push it into the body. Okay? Now go to where you left off. Go to the tailbone. And usually it takes about 3. If it's a long body, it takes 4. Okay, so move that rock, put the other one back on, and condense. Give them their own energy. This feels fantastic. People love this, okay? Put the rock back on, go to their feet, okay? If you're gonna do the washing of the feet, you can, just kind of cleanse and pull the wet, warm rag off, okay? And then you're gonna ground. So you're gonna hold the bottoms of the feet. And when you hold the bottoms of your feet, you are going to imagine now, instead of with Reiki, we push energy in, this time you're going to imagine extracting it out in a way. All right, so you're going to intend that energy from them, this beautiful energy inside of them, you're going to allow it to flow through your hands, down your body, and out your feet. And you're going to intend them grounding. And when you feel this connection into the earth, you're going to intend that it stay placed, and you just release yourself and allow them to stay grounded. Now, sometimes I'll actually feel them like shoot into their body. And it's like, whoa, okay, well, they're now in their body. Fantastic. Now, remove the stones if you had them on, okay? And you're going to then gently, now you can use their name and just call them back. That is the review of the Reiki table treatment. So I'm going to pause the video again, and we will continue with a review of Reiki 2. I'm back. All right, let me share my screen, and we will continue where we left off. Alrighty, so Reiki 2. All about the symbols and the distance Reiki. So the Reiki symbols that we learn about in Reiki 2 or learned about are Shokure, Seiheki, and Hanshize Shomen. All right, and you can see them on the side on the screen here. Remember that using the symbols is all about intention. And you can't really go wrong with these, all right? So you can't misuse them unless you have a bad intention, okay? And of course you wouldn't have that. You're beautiful. So it doesn't matter whether you draw it right on a person, because it's all about intention. All right. Remember that this is the telephone game where, you know, back in the day, Dr. Yusui had everyone destroy these symbols so that they can never be seen by anyone else's eyes. Well, that made it so that even his best students forgot what they look like. It happens, we're human. So anyway, remember that it's a type of language with source. You're communicating with source, and these are just very typical. I chose the 3 most typical symbols for you to work with. You can draw these on the body with your finger, you know, maybe even just with your hand. You can cut out little pictures of them and place them on the body. Nobody feels the paper when it's on their body. You can imagine them, just imagine it there, okay? However you want to is fine. And then just say the name 3 times. Hanshise shonen, hanshise shonen, hanshise shonen. Okay? Shoku-rei, the reminder, is the power symbol. It's pronounced shoku-rei, all right? And it basically says place the power right here. I like to call it a turbocharge, okay? So let's say they have a broken ankle. Well, you can turbocharge some energy there. They really need to concentrate the energy here, is what you're saying, okay? When it comes to Seiheki, remember that Seiheki is the mental emotional symbol, and the Seiheki is also known as the harmony symbol. All right. And this is where anytime you're working with somebody who's healing something from the past or from right now, or a trauma they went through, or maybe they're just stuck in their head, or maybe they're really depressed or sad, use Seiheki. It's a mental emotional symbol. And again, you can't use it wrong. Be creative. All right. And again, if you need to practice these symbols, go ahead, move back to the last slide, pause this video, and draw out your shokure. If you forgot how to do the seiheki, take this moment, pause the video, draw out your seiheki. Okay. Remember that these symbols can be used in combination. So you can use shokure and seiheki in the same waparuni. Okay. That means at the same time. Hanshise shonen is a little different. Hanshise shonen actually removes past, present, and future. It is a connector. It is used to remove any distance, any time, any space, so that you can work with it with a person, no matter what the state that they're in. If you need to do a distance session on someone who's deceased, fine. If you need to help somebody who's in the present and help them connect with their deceased mother, who they're still angry at, use the Hanshise shonen to connect. All right. Again, you can use Hanshise shonen with seiheki, with shokure. All right. So if you're trying to heal the heart issue that they have because they hate their mother, and you're going to bring them into the past, and you're going to help them to heal that emotion, you might want to use all 3. Okay. Now that brings us into distant Reiki treatments. So these treatments that we use distance can be used on the phone like I do. And there's a special class for that. That's a whole different type of training, but well, kind of different. Yeah, pretty different. Anyway, you can work with distance on people, animals, and situations. Okay. And so what happens is it doesn't matter whether someone is alive or deceased. It doesn't matter how far away they are. And you use this whenever you really can't touch them physically or shouldn't. All right. When it comes to animals, they're very sensitive to the energy. So a lot of times you don't work on them physically because they're like, woo, okay, because they're sensitive. They feel it. So you use distant. All right. And in situations, you can use this on situations. Let's say you're going to have to call up somebody and deliver some bad news. Well, Reiki ahead of time. Do some distance Reiki and prep. Okay. The steps in the distance Reiki process are this. Step 1, connect to source energy just like you normally would. All those setting boundaries, getting out of your head, you know, connecting into a grounding wire, you know, becoming a clear and perfect channel, all of this still applies, okay? So step 1, connect to source, allow yourself to be a clear energy channel. Step 2, You want to call the person you want to work with into your energetic space. You do that by either looking at a photo of them or imagining them or feeling what you feel like when you're with them. Okay. If you don't know them, you can't do that. But you can, I usually ask the person for a picture if I'm going to be doing distance Reiki on someone. Okay. Or visualize the situation if you're doing a situation. So, steps in the distance Reiki process 3. All right. You're going to place a Hanshization symbol in between you and whoever it is that you called in. So your eyes are closed, you're all connected. You called in that person, you can feel them or see them or sense them. You place the Hanshization symbol in between you to create a very strong connection. Okay, and you're basically then saying in your mind or out loud, Hansha Seishonen, Hansha Seishonen, Hansha Seishonen. And remember, you can just visualize it. And the guides have said if you get the visualization wrong or the drawing wrong, don't worry, they will correct it. They know what you're intending. Next step, you need to ask permission, all right? Unless you're just beaming energy. If you're beaming energy, you don't need, or beaming love, you don't need to, or healing energy, you don't have to ask permission for that. But if you're gonna do any type of invasive work with them, you're gonna look in their body, you're gonna work on their heart, you're gonna do things with them or communicate with them, you need to ask them permission. You don't call them up on the phone and ask, you ask their soul. May I work with you? And watch their reaction. If there's no obvious no, it's a yes, okay? But obviously you skip that for situations. Okay, even if they're deceased, you ask the permission. So the last step in distant Reiki process is if you, not the last step, step 5, is if you need to, ask the body for information. What do you need from me? Or scan the body. What do you feel in the body? What information are you hearing intuitively? Okay, so you're going to ask for information if you don't already know. If you already know, skip this step. The last step, proceed to do distance Reiki in any method that calls you. Remember, I'm a kinesthetic person, so I am stretching, the people are turning them upside down, turning them around, working on their head, moving them here, getting deep into their heart, oop, expanding their heart. I want to really get into the heart. Oh, close the heart, okay, shrink you down. I will work on the whole body. I'm moving my hands all the time. Other people sit with their hands in their lap and they visualize everything. It just depends on the kind of person you are. So whatever it is that you need to do it. Okay. Remember that the distance Reiki actually goes much quicker than everything else. I mean, like you will fly through this. 10 minutes, is what it usually takes, maybe 15 on the table. A typical Reiki session will take about 35, 40 minutes, maybe even longer. All right, depending on what you're doing. So here we go. Try a distance session before Wednesday. It's not going to matter if you don't, but I think you should be, ready and feel like you're connected with the Reiki energy. Try a table session if you can. Do some personal chakra clearing. All right. Get into the pineal gland meditation if you want to. Do something to prepare your body to connect with the energy. And we'll see you in Reiki 3. Ciao, ciao.